Time now for our Rants and Raves, starting with Dan Kennedy.
I have a rave for Shirley Leong. Somebody told me today that the job of editorial page editor at the Globe had been advertised, and I looked it up, and sure enough, she is going to be moving aside as the interim editorial page editor at the Globe and moving back to her business column.
Is she happy about it?
I don't have anything on the record from her, so I don't know whether she's happy about it or not. But I do think she loved writing her business column. Very provocative. I often disagreed with her, but I enjoyed reading it, and I look forward to reading it again.
She was right about GE. I was about to rave. I was going to rave on that before you took it. She was right about having GE come here, and it worked out to our benefit. Dan.
I'm going to rant for the coverage of the royal baby. First of all, I know people are going to
I'm with you, Dan.
I think it feels very dated. This is the kind of thing that maybe 20 years ago we cared about. But now, the breathless, majestic anticipation of the baby coming out, I think that was a little old. And then the second point is, were you listening to the questions that the reporters were asking, or a reporter was asking? So the baby's what, 2 days, 3 days old when they come marching out? And who does the baby take after? What do you mean? Yesterday it looked like a prune, and today it looks like a pickle. Who does it take? And the prince pointed out that they change quite frequently here. Or how does it feel to be as parents? Like, what's parenting like? I don't know. It's only a couple days. I mean, when we had a baby, we agreed not to hold anything against each other that we said within 48 hours, because a lot of crazy parenting things are done in those mommoments. So I'm tired of it all, and I know I seem like an old cranky person on this, but I'm
you do.
Yeah, I'm not a royal.
You're absolutely right.
Yes, you do.
All right, Callie.
So I have kind of a tepid rave for Cleveland.com. It started this thing called Project Text, where they are charging a minimal amount of readers, and certain reporters will text directly to them. So they build up a sort of a niche audience. And so in this case, they showcase one of the sports reporters. So when he writes up something that's interesting, that doesn't make it in all of his other stories, he'll text it to them. And because they've engaged in this experiment, a lot of people right now, it's still an experiment. They're doing it for free, but it'll eventually be $3.99. He's happy because he's getting good response from people who want to be engaged with him around these subjects, and they're building up readerships. The newspaper or the online site sees it as a potential way to do revenue, like some of the big-time paywalls. I'm tepid because, we've said this stuff is not free. There should be some payment for it. At the same time, I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this. So I know I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth.
All
right, so Dan, you can call me hypocrite because I'm fine with the royal baby, but I have a rant against the Washington Post for running a story by someone who dated Beto O'Rourke 25 years ago for maybe a year. Okay, this was like the big tell-all that said nothing. Okay, I understand. We want to understand the personal lives of the candidates. They've done Pete Buttigieg's husband, and they've done Amy Klobuchar's dad, but this is scraping the bottom of the barrel. What's next? I was behind Kamala Harris in the supermarket lines.
What's wrong with that story?
Oh, my God.
All right, finally tonight, I have a rave for Chris Hughes, who's one of the founders of Facebook, who came out this week in a very strong editorial and said it is time to bust the company up. Facebook owns Instagram, WhatsApp. There hasn't been another social media site born since 2011 because Facebook owns them all. So, and this guy was a friend of Mark Zuckerberg. They founded the company together. He hasn't seen him in a few years, but he says, he knows the roots the best. He says, Mark Zuckerberg is all power all the time, and it's time to end it. Good for him.